When you don't have a really masculine man, he's more emasculated. He's going to tend to not be extremely clear in where he is leading the two of you. He's not clear in his intentions. He's not giving you that clarity, and he leaves you guessing and feeling anxious. And that is a really big problem. It's going to be very difficult for you to be able to relax and to be in your feminine energy. And we're going to talk about the three main reasons why this is such a problem, why it's going to basically wreak havoc on your life, wreak havoc on your emotions, and also what you can start doing about it if you ever experience this or if you are experiencing this. Before we get started, hello, my name is Zach Rohde. I am here to lead you into creating the relationship of your dreams using your feminine energy and what I call feminine communication. So the first reason this is really important for your feminine energy is because when a man is doing this, you are going to feel anxious and you're going to feel sad, angry. We'll call it unchosen, right? Because you're not being fully chosen when a man is not stepping fully into his masculine energy and he's not giving you this clarity. What should a masculine man be doing? That's a man who is telling you exactly, here's where the relationship is going. This is exactly what I think of you. I'm really attracted to you. I really like you. This is where I'm seeing things going. And he's clear, not just in his words, because words are great, but they're also kind of empty, but also in his intentions. So there's an alignment between the two things. And what that's going to do is you're going to feel this safety in your system. You're going to feel this relaxation, this ease, and it's going to be very easy for you to just follow his leadership, the dates that he's taking you on and, continuing to get to know him better, feeling great. When a man is more emasculated and he's not giving you that clarity, you're going to start to feel anxious and bad, like just sad, angry, upset. There's going to be some kind of disconnection. You're going to, this anxiety, okay, is often something where women think like there is something wrong with me. And of course, you might have an attachment issue, right? You're anxiously attached, and that's going to exacerbate things considerably. So there's certainly things that you can do to work towards healing yourself. But from the man's end, what women are often not getting is that clarity. And that's a need that you have. This is on the man. This is because a lot of men, most men, the vast majority of men, are not taught to lead a woman properly. They just have all of these assumptions in their head, or they just don't really care. But a lot of it, most men, it's not that they don't care. It's just that they don't understand how their leadership, how their decisions are negatively impacting you. They don't realize the level of anxiety that you are feeling. And often it's because you're hiding it. We're going to talk about how you can communicate that anxiety in a beautiful way that's actually going to inspire him into caring about you more. We're going to talk about that later in this video. But first, we got to cover these 3 points. So you're going to feel anxiety. That anxiety is natural. That's normal. Even if you are a very healthy woman, you've healed a whole bunch of wounds, you're still going to feel anxiety if you really like a guy. Like it's a man, you really like him, you want it to work out, you're already envisioning a future with him, but he's not painting a vision of that future with you. And yeah, you're going to feel that anxiety naturally. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? And on this video, and all of the videos that I really show you, and you should start binge watching these videos, one of the things that's really helpful for you is to start to accept yourself more. So many women really struggle with self-acceptance, where you think that there's something wrong with you. And of course, there are things that you can work on in yourself, especially your communication. We're going to talk about that more. But your feelings, understand, there's usually nothing wrong with your feelings. Yes, some of them can come from wounding. I mean, there's never anything wrong with your feelings in the sense that all of your feelings are beautiful. There is an issue in the sense that some of your feelings come from wounding. That's okay. We can work towards healing them. But a lot of them are just coming from your feminine instinct. And even a totally, theoretically, fully healed woman, that doesn't exist. Every woman has wounds. A fully healed woman, she's still going to feel anxious when a man is not giving her clarity. This is your feminine instinct telling you something is wrong. Okay? A lot of women, they will take that on themselves and be like, there's something wrong with me. When really, there's something that is wrong with the man's leadership. He's just not giving you clarity. That's a problem. And that needs to be fixed. And yes, that can be fixed when you start communicating that. But instead, what most women do, they do a few things. One of the things that you'll typically experience is you're going to go into your head, and the anxiety is going to compel you there, and you're going to start telling yourself stories. stories about, oh, maybe this man doesn't like me enough, or he's already found some other woman. There's this other woman that maybe he likes more, and he's probably talking to her right now, and he's going to abandon me. He's going to dump me. This isn't going to work out. He's never going to reach out and plan another date again. And that's really unpleasant. That's an unpleasant place to be, especially if you also have anxious attachment, where that is going to heighten all of that anxiety significantly. So you're basically being tortured in a way, emotionally tortured. When you feel this anxiety, it's basically telling you're not safe right now. And I will talk about safety a lot in these videos, because the most important thing that you need is emotional safety, right? When you've got a really healthy masculine man, he is providing that emotional safety. And that emotional safety is like, yeah, he's leading you with care, with love. He's not getting triggered. He's not getting angry at you and putting that on you and being deflective and lying to you and all of that stuff, being out of integrity. But another part of emotional safety is a man who is capable of giving you clarity, where it's like you're not left guessing about where things are going, about what you mean to him, because he is telling you with his words, which are aligned with his actions. That's a form of emotional safety, and it's one of those forms that most men are pretty clueless about. I was fully clueless about that as well, right? I've dated a lot of women prior to meeting my wife. So on those dates, I would often not be clear about where things are going. I would be clear about like, hey, we're going to be meeting up, but I wouldn't be clear about what do you mean to me and where things are going. And part of that was because I just wasn't actually intending to lead these women anywhere, because I was stuck in being in Peter Pan. I wasn't serious about actually getting in exclusive relationships with pretty much all of these women, and which, by the way, is a really important kind of man that you want to look out for. The kind of man that I used to be, the kind of man who is not in his masculine energy, who's not looking for a wife, who's not actually serious about leading a woman into commitment. He's just looking to have fun. Avoid those men. They're terrible. I can admit in my past, like, I was a lot of fun for women. Women really enjoyed me, but I ended up just wasting women's time because it's not going to go anywhere. And I knew from the beginning it wasn't going to go anywhere. I didn't see a problem with it because I was still being kind. And I mean, it's a form of kindness anyway. I wasn't being mean to women. I was showing women a good time, but it's not really kind to be wasting a woman's time and to not really be fully clear that like, hey, I don't actually want anything serious whatsoever. I wouldn't lie to a woman if she directly asked me, but most women don't ask. They're just like, where things are going nowhere. And so many men are out there to waste a woman's time. Men are going to typically know from the beginning, like that first date or even before that date, is this woman someone that I'm going to be serious with? Am I even the kind of man who's going to be serious with anyone, no matter who she is, right? But also, is this woman actually wife material, girlfriend material for me? And most men are just going to waste a woman's time. You need to learn how to avoid those kind of men as well. I'm not going to be talking about that on this video, I don't think, but on other videos I'm going to. So that's why you got to binge watch. You got to understand everything about what I teach, which is masculine and feminine polarity, masculine and feminine dynamics, how men and women relate to each other, what to look out for, the mistakes that happen, how to communicate, and how to shift yourself to ultimately get everything that you want in your love life. Because you can. Whether you're single or in a relationship right now, you can have a healthy masculine man who's giving you clarity, giving you care, leading things forward, fully in integrity, loving, kind, also strong, great backbone. You can have that man. And how can I say that with certainty? Because I've worked with hundreds of women in my academy program, many of which started single, many of which started in relationships, but all of them had issues in their love lives where they're not being cherished. And we've shown them how to make these shifts so that they're being taken care of, they're being cherished, they attract a masculine man, or they inspire their man into being masculine. So when I say you can have that, I don't care, like, unless you're, incapable of learning and becoming a better woman, which I've never met someone who's like that. I've never had a client who's like that. Then you can shift this. And not just by working with me, right? Be fully honest and transparent. Obviously, by working with us in our academy, you can make these shifts way faster. But guess what? Just by watching these videos and implementing what we teach you, what I teach you, you can make so many shifts in your love life. And I hear it all the time. I get stories from women in my comments and just reaching out to me by email, just saying how much my YouTube videos have helped shift them. So you can implement this stuff. And I want that for you. I want you to have the relationship of your dreams, and it's possible for you. But first you got to believe it, and then you got to actually start learning this stuff and implementing. Okay, so second problem, the second reason that this is so important, that a man is giving you clarity, is if he doesn't. So you're going into anxiety and you're going into feeling bad about yourself, and then that's going to put you up in your head. And then you're going to be telling yourself stories. And then what's going to happen with those stories? Those stories, sooner or later, are going to compel you into certain patterns. Those patterns I call control patterns. So you are trying to control a man, his perceptions of you, and his behaviors in many cases as well, by trying to do certain things or not do certain things. And this is because you don't know how to stay in your feminine energy when a man's not showing up properly. It's like a lot of women will say like, yeah, I'm really feminine with a really masculine man, right? When everything's perfect, when all the conditions are perfect, a man's giving you clarity, when he's being loving, all this stuff. Yeah, of course you can be feminine. The hard part, the real test is, can you remain in your feminine energy? And feminine energy is basically like you're not controlling anything. You're just opening, you're receptive, you're able to follow a man, you're able to fully receive him. The struggle is when a man's not doing what he should be, can you stay in your feminine energy? And typically women really struggle with that, and that's where things go really sideways in their love lives. So you go into these control patterns. What are some of them? Well, one of the most common ones in this situation is you start going into kind of Sherlock Holmes mode. What does that mean? You become a detective and you start focusing all of this extra attention on him, trying to figure him out, thinking about him even when he's not there, trying to understand him, and often asking him questions. You know, what's going on? Where are we? What are we? Are we going out tonight? Or you, even worse than questions, you go into starting to initiate in some kind of way, trying to make things happen, trying to get together with him. Or you might go into mothering mode. What is mothering mode? Like doing nice things for him, getting into the giving role, trying to be worthy enough for his attention so that he wants a commitment with you, so that he wants to spend more time with you. So all of those are control patterns. All of those are communicating a lack of self-worth, and all of those things are actually going to backfire on you. Pretty much anything is going to backfire on you other than just letting go of control, using feminine communication. When you go into the mothering, when you go into the Sherlock Holmes mode, when you go into initiating mode in any way, what you're doing is you are stepping into the masculine role. And this is where everything starts to go wrong, because a man is supposed to be in that role. What do I mean by that? I mean, he is in the leading role. Man is supposed to lead, woman is supposed to follow. Just so you know, if you're new to my channel, that does not make you weak, that does not make you less than, that actually makes you worthy, right? You're worthy of receiving a man's care. Think about this like a salsa dance. Man is leading the dance from start to finish. You are following the entire dance. Does that make you less than? Does that make you weak? No, that makes you have a fantastic dance. But if a man kind of stops leading in the dance, what's going to happen? You're not going to have nearly as good a time. It's going to be very frustrating for you. Or if you start to step up and lead in some kind of way, which can happen through initiating, through asking a whole bunch of questions, where are things going, blah, blah, blah. Or if you start stepping into the giving role, what you are doing is you are starting to energetically lead the dynamic. You are trying to control things because now you don't feel that safety anymore, that he's going to be leading things forward, that you're going to be spending time with him, that he's going to be taking care of you, that he likes you enough. That safety is being kind of pulled under from you like a rug. And now you're trying to get that safety back in the only ways that you know how. And it's not going to work. It's not going to work. But before we get into it not working, just as importantly, it's going to feel really uncomfortable for you. Now, you might have been trained from childhood to be in that more masculine energy your entire life. And that might feel comfortable in a way, like, this is where I feel at ease. And it might actually feel very uncomfortable for you to be in the feminine role because you're letting go of control. Now, the thing is, that's all stemming from a wound. That's because you don't realize that's where your safety really is. You are meant to be in the feminine role where you are just opening yourself up. You're receiving a man's care. You're not controlling anything. You don't need to control anything because you're just worthy of being taken care of. So some women will feel very anxious if they are not there. But no matter what, you're also not going to feel good being in the masculine role in any kind of way. You're going to feel that something's off. And that can feel like a heaviness, like, ooh, this feels like a burden. It can feel like an anxious feeling, like, oh, just things are not right. You are also just not feeling, well, this isn't a feeling, but you're not feeling cherished because you're not being cherished. A man cherishes you. He cherishes a woman by leading, first and foremost. If he's not leading, if he's not in the giving role, if he's not the one that's making things happen, if he's not initiating, basically the messaging that you are receiving is, this man does not believe I'm worthy. This man does not love me enough or like me enough. He doesn't care about me enough. He doesn't see me as real potential. He's not thinking of choosing me. That's the message. And that's a horrible message to receive as a woman because you need to be cherished. You need to be taken care of. You need to get the message that this man really likes you or loves you, right? Depending on where in the relationship it is. And you think for a moment, a really masculine man, and hopefully you've experienced this before, even if you haven't experienced it for a long time and eventually wears out, you've at least experienced at some point a man who really liked you, who was really into you, who was clear and was showing you how much he liked you because he was moving things forward. He was making plans. He was taking care of you in various ways. He was the one that was initiating. He was the one that was making you feel special with whatever, flowers, or just making your life easier in some kind of way. And this part's important here. Not just any man that's doing that, because there's many men, most men in the world today, that could be doing those things for you, and you're not actually going to enjoy it because you're not attracted to him. You don't want to actually be with him. Most men are not actually in their masculine energy, and they're doing those things for a woman, not from a place of power, not from a place of strength, but from a place of weakness. They are trying to be good enough for a woman. They're trying to energetically win you over, and that's going to cause you to lose attraction. So it's like, it's that whole, I got to do a video on this actually. I'm going to do a video on this. I'm going to write it down. But it's the man who is like, does everything right. And you're like, man, I really wish I could meet a man like you. You're such a great friend. And what's that about? It's because, yes, he's going through a lot of the right motions to take care of you, but all from the wrong energy, the wrong intention. So you don't feel that attraction to him. That's not what you need. You need a masculine man, a man who knows that he is worthy of you already, and he's doing these things for you, not to show that he's good enough, but because he just wants to make you feel special. He wants to put a smile on your face. He wants you to know that you are chosen, taken care of, beautiful in his eyes, all of those things. And that is what's going to truly light you up. That's what is going to make you feel amazing. That's that true cherishing feeling. So only a truly masculine man can deliver that, right? So he has to be in his power. You have to feel his strength. You have to feel that he knows his self-worth, and he is taking care of you, leading in all of these ways, giving you clarity on where you stand, and he's doing it because he cares. So way back when I was dating women, I didn't do this with women. I mean, again, partly because I wasn't really that serious about most women, but even with the few women that I was, other than my wife, everything changed with my wife. Was actually very clear with things. She just brought out something special in many ways that wasn't online before. But even with other women that I was somewhat serious with, I wasn't fully clear in my intentions. Whereas like, here's where I see things going. And to be fair, towards men, one of the reasons that men are not clear is because they keep learning all these wrong messages about women. right? Like if they tried to be the good guy and were clear in their intentions, they end up getting used, or the woman loses attraction in some kind of way, and they assume like, oh, it was because I was treating her too well. And so there's so many men out there, including me way back when, where I thought, if I'm just kind of a little bit of a jerk, like I'm kind of selfish, more self-focused, I'm not really focused on really making her feel special, then that's going to make me more attractive. Now, that actually is true, in the sense that's more attractive than being kind of a simping, really nice guy, people pleaser, all that stuff, because no woman wants that. But no woman who has any amount of self-worth really wants a self-focused jerk a-hole either, right? The perfect man is a man who's in his self-worth, he knows his value, he's leading the woman fully, giving her full clarity, but from a place of power. And there's unfortunately not a lot of men out there like that. Now, if you're single watching this, I can help you attract that kind of man, right? This is what we do in our academy program for the single women anyway, where you learn how to make these shifts both online, offline, to be able to attract those much more rare types of men. They do exist. If you're not currently attracting them, it's just because you don't know how to attract them. So I'm not going to go much into this. We're going to talk about our third point in a moment. But if you are interested in working with me, if you would like a call with me where we can discuss everything that's going on in your love life, and I can give you coaching on how to make these shifts, and to find out if working with us in our academy program is the right step for you, go below this video, open up the description, and click on the link relationshipofyourdreams.com. You can also just type it in, relationshipofyourdreams.com. Watch the video that is on that site. That is going to help you understand how to make these shifts, and you're going to hear it from my clients as well, like that this is possible for you. You can have all of this. You just have to believe it, and you just have to actually make these shifts. And we make those shifts happen really easy. So if you're feeling it, come on, book that call, and I will see you there. We'll have a great time. Relationshipofyourdreams.com. Link to book it is right below the video. Okay, so third point. What's the third point? The third point is the other reason why this is so important that a man is giving you clarity is because if he doesn't give you clarity, he is actually going to sabotage the dynamic himself. Like it's going to cause this cascading problem, right? Problem number one, you're going to feel all this fear. It's going to compel you into your head. You're going to have a really bad time. That fear is going to compel you into these control patterns of various forms of leading, initiating, being in the giving role, the mothering role, asking a whole bunch of questions, all this kind of stuff that pushes a man away, that does not feel good for a man. And then he starts to lose attraction. He starts to lose interest. He starts to withdraw. He starts giving even less clarity. And you might have been an amazing woman, right? Like if you're watching this video and you really resonate with this, I am going to make the assumption that you are an amazing woman, because there's a lot of women out there who are not ready for this kind of content. They're not ready for this kind of truth. So if you've gotten to this point and you can really receive this message, I'm going to say you're amazing, okay? But other men are not realizing how amazing you are. And it's not because you're not an amazing woman. It's just that you're doing things, you're allowing your fear and other feelings to control you to do things that are pushing away the kind of men that you want. So they're not really seeing how amazing you are. And yes, they're complicit in that too, right? Like you have a part to play in this, where you are going into these controlling energies and behaviors, but so does he. Because if he was just really clear, if he just gave you all of this direction and understanding, it's like, here's where I'm taking you and here's what I'm thinking in the relationship, here's how I value you, you wouldn't really feel much in the way of anxiety. You'd feel held. That's not a feeling either. I'll use all these descriptions that are not actual feelings, but that's basically what it is. You're being held and you're being led. You're being taken care of, and then you can just relax and enjoy things. So he's dropping the ball, and then he's basically losing an amazing woman, which is you, because of his bad leadership. See how that works? He screws up, and you also screw up. So we're going to talk about when a man does screw up in this way, he's not giving this clarity, what can you do about it? Like, are you just destined to keep pushing away men because you're going into these control patterns? No. No, you can shift this even if you're attracting these imperfect men. And here's the other thing. Part of the reason that men don't give this clarity is absolutely because their leadership is not perfect. But another big part of it is because he already doesn't like you enough, he's not inspired enough by you to want to give you that clarity. This is not because of who you are intrinsically. This is just about how you are showing up. So there's going to be things that you're doing even before this point that are not pulling him in, that are not inspiring him into taking care of you in the way that you need and deserve. The way that this starts to shift all comes from your voice. It all comes from learning how to communicate everything that is coming up for you vulnerably and in a feminine way. What most women are doing wrong early on, and like I said, I've dated enough women. Like I've dated hundreds of women to see what women are doing wrong to push away men, to push away me. And the biggest thing that women are doing wrong by far is their self-worth is not high enough to communicate whenever anything is off in any kind of way, right? When you're afraid of something, when you're feeling a little bit needy, when you're feeling sad because of something a man does, when there's some discomfort that a man creates in you, you're not sharing it. And sometimes the problem is you actually do share it, but you share it in a more masculine way with judgments, maybe sometimes with blame. That's also going to push a man away. But the biggest thing is that you're just not sharing at all. Women are so scared to just share what is coming up for them, to open up their heart and expose themselves, expose their inner world, their inner emotional world especially, because you've been burned before. That's what it is. You've tried doing it and a man's gotten mad. Or you did it in childhood and you were taught like it's not safe to do this. And then you basically learn, okay, I shouldn't do this because if I do this, my needs aren't going to get met. I'm just going to play the good girl. Right? So if you look at my academy program, you look at all the women that are going through, all the women that we are helping, I'm not going to say all of them, but a huge percentage of them, their biggest issue is that they are playing the good girl. They don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to upset a man. They don't want to cause him to get angry or to hurt his feelings. And so they play nice. They sometimes do fawning stuff. They follow a man's leadership or do what he wants even when it doesn't feel good. And most importantly, they don't speak up. Tell me right now, have you experienced that? Have you done that? Are you the type of woman who will sometimes not speak up, or a lot of the time not speak up? It's like you're feeling bad in some way, but you don't say anything because you don't want a bad reaction from him. You don't want him to abandon you. You don't want him to think less of you in some way. You don't want him to see you as a burden. You don't want him to see you as weak. And so you just don't say anything, or you say something, but you kind of downplay it. You kind of really sugarcoat it in some way. What you are doing when you do that is you are communicating, I do not have much self-worth. My self-worth is so low that I am going to suppress myself. I'm going to put myself more in a box. I'm going to contort myself. I'm going to play this role to be good enough for you, to be worthy of you. And what's going to happen is a man is going to feel that. He's going to feel that right from the beginning with you. He's going to be able to sense your self-worth in a similar way that you can sense a man's self-worth, right? What happens when you can sense that a man has a lot of self-worth? And that type of man's typically going to be leading. He's going to be setting boundaries. He's going to be directive. He's going to be loving. Well, typically you're going to feel attraction for him. You're going to feel a lot of attraction for him. You're going to want to be with him. You're going to want him to not abandon you. You're going to want him to text you a lot and to contact you a lot. You're going to be able to, you don't want to, you just want to be able to see him as much as possible. The same is true with a man, a masculine man especially, with a woman. He's going to be able to sense how much self-worth does this woman have. And I have dated a lot of women who presented in a relatively feminine way, where they would follow my lead, they would be receptive, they would be fun, it'd be bubbly, they'd be soft, all this kind of stuff, which is all great. Those are all very attractive traits for a masculine man. But I couldn't really feel much of their self-worth. I couldn't really feel that strong pull of like, I want to claim this woman as mine. I want her to be my girlfriend. I want to eventually lead her to be my wife. I want to be with her forever. I didn't feel that from those women, but I felt some attraction. I felt enough where it's like, yeah, I'd like to sleep with this woman. I'd like to sleep with this woman a few times, or I'd like to have a casual friends with benefits or kind of open relationship or something like that. And by the way, just for anyone who's new to my channel, I don't believe in any of that anymore. I think That is not what a masculine man should be doing. That isn't what a masculine man would be doing. It's not what men should be doing, but it was how I operated back then. And there's a lot of men out there who are operating that way today who are just going to be hurting you and leading you to nowhere, and it's not going to be making your life better in any way. Anyway, point is, you need to be learning how to express your voice all the time so that you can start shifting more and more into your self-worth, because the more that you do, the more that a man's going to feel attraction for you. He's going to feel your value. He's going to be more inspired to take care of you, to treat you well. And also, that includes give you clarity about where things are going. So you need to start sharing your voice and problems and everything. Also the good stuff as well. The gratitude, happiness. You need to wear your heart on your sleeve. You need to do it using feminine communication. Now, to learn feminine communication, I'm going to teach you a little bit here. I do teach it in a lot of my videos as well. And then, of course, we train women on feminine communication in our academy. Again, relationshipyourdreams.com if that's interesting to you, if you'd like to do that call with me. So I'm going to talk about how to communicate using feminine communication in this specific situation. I'm not going to go in depth with it, but I'm going to give you some of the basics. So the situation is a man is not being very clear. He's being vague about where things are going. Now, when he does that, you're going to be either going into one of those obvious control patterns we talked about, or the other thing you might do, we haven't talked about this, is you're going to just play it cool. It's like, oh, I'm not really going to say much. Things don't bother me. I'm just going to hope for the best that he's going to reach out to me and whatever. So you're trying to appear non-affected, even though you actually are emotionally affected. But when you do that, you're also communicating low self-worth. Because a woman who's in her self-worth, she's not going to put up with that crap. She's going to be communicating what's coming up for her, but she's going to be doing it in a feminine way. She's not going to be, texting him up and being like, hey, where are you? Like, why aren't you making plans? What's going on? Right? 'Cause that's the Sherlock Holmes stuff. That's not going to work. What you need to do is you need to get into your feminine energy. And this is an energy where you're not energetically controlling. And you need to get very permissive. Feminine energy is permissive. And again, this doesn't make you weak. This can be a very triggering thing. This is one of the most triggering things that I teach. But women are going to be asking permission for things, and they're going to be in a feminine energy. This is actually communicating self-worth, because women who are not in their self-worth, they're going to be trying to control. Feminine women are going to be communicating permissively what they need. And as an example of that, if you're feeling bad, you might be sharing, may I have some help with my feelings? Okay? Tell me, does that trigger you? The idea of doing that, does that scare you? It's a very vulnerable thing to say. And so I want to know, if you're listening, if you're watching, what does that bring up for you? Especially if you're a first-time viewer, but even if you've been following my videos for a while, what does that bring up for you? And if you get triggered by that, or if there's a big fear that comes up, then know that's a wounding that is keeping you stuck. It's keeping you in a state of being less permissive, being more in judgment, being more in masculine energy, which is repelling the kind of healthy masculine men that you want and need. Or if you're in a relationship, it is repelling the kind of masculine behavior from your man that you want and need, where he is cherishing you, he's leading you, he's taking care of you. So you're going to ask that question, and he's going to be like, what's going on? And you're going to share what the feelings are. So what are the feelings? Anxiety is probably going to be the main one. So share that you feel anxious. Now, ideally, here's the problem. Ideally, this should never be done during text. Because text, there can be so much that's misinterpreted. Men are just not going to understand your energy. They might be projecting some blame or something onto you because they don't realize that your intentions are actually pure. They might think that you're manipulative or whatever. Ultimately, you can't control that. If you can get them on a phone call, or if there's when you meet in person, if that's possible, it's best to share there, and that's going to be way scarier. One of the things that women do is they will text because it feels more comfortable, because it's behind a screen, you kind of get to hide. It's less vulnerable, but it's also way less effective because it's less vulnerable, even though it doesn't feel nearly as scary. You need to share your feeling of anxiety. I feel really anxious. And he's going to be like, okay, why are you feeling anxious? And this could be in text. If it has to be in text, it has to be in text. And then you're going to share why you're feeling anxious. So that could be something like, because I'm not clear on where things are going, or I don't understand why we aren't talking anymore. Something like that. You're not blaming, you're not making it about him, you're not judging him, you're making it about you. You're making it about the problem that you are experiencing. I'm not going to go further into that in this video, but keep watching these videos and you get more of these pieces. You're sharing that, and then you're seeing how he is going to respond. You've done that. If you do that exactly as I say, then you're being pretty much as respectful as you can, and you're not energetically controlling. I mean, you could use this stuff to control, but the whole point of this language is so that you're letting go of that control in the moment, and you're just seeing how he responds. You share that, you see how he responds, and hopefully he starts giving you clarity. And what you basically need is a conversation about what is happening. And you need to be sharing all of these problems, again, without blaming him. We don't have time to go further into this, but you just need to try. You just need to start doing it if you experience this, and you see how it goes. Again, if you want absolutely everything all at once about exactly how to have these conversations, well, we help you with that in our academy, relationshipyourdreams.com. Watch the video, book a call with me. Otherwise, keep watching these videos and start piecing all of this together, because I give you all these gems. I give you these little gold nuggets in all of these videos, and you start putting them together and it starts to make sense. Things start to click, and then you start applying everything. You start getting better results over time. You might get worse results at first. That's part of the problem with this, is when you apply this, you're probably not going to be doing it with the best energy, and you're going to be misapplying the communication. So sometimes it's not going to go perfect, and you're going to think like, oh, this stuff doesn't work. Look, I have enough experience and I have enough reference points in my academy to know this works like nothing else does. It's not just me thinking back to my past, like, oh, what would have really worked with these women where I would have been more attracted to them and wanted to give them more clarity and stuff. No, we've taught hundreds of women exactly how to do this. And we've seen them go from dysfunctional, not being able to attract a masculine man, or being in a relationship with a man where the man's just not being clear, he's not leading properly, he's not appreciating the woman properly, he's dysregulated, he's dismissive of her. We've seen everything. We've seen everything. This is why I can do hundreds and hundreds of these videos. I could do thousands of these videos. I could do one every single day. I could do multiple a day, because I've seen so much from my clients. That's where I've learned almost all of this. And I can tell you, you can make these shifts because they can make these shifts. If it's not working, it's only one of two possibilities. Either you're doing it with the wrong man, definitely a possibility. It's less likely, but it's definitely a possibility. Or you are applying things wrong. You're just communicating in the wrong way. You're trying your best, but something is off in your energy, something is off in your phrasing, and it doesn't even need to be perfect. Right? It's not like we teach scripts where it's like you got to follow this exact thing, otherwise, a man's going to hate you. First of all, it's not going to be very fun, and it's also not very natural or real. We teach you how to be real by connecting the communication to your heart, to your instinct. We're telling you what your instinct already knows. This is how you're meant to be communicating. This is how it feels good to communicate. When you move through any wounding, any self-judgment, any shame, any of that stuff that's in the way, now it just feels good to fully be you, to fully be open, to be in your feminine, to be sharing all your feelings, to share your problems without blaming or judging or penetrating, to share your needs openly. You don't have to hide anything. You are so beautiful. The saddest thing for women, the saddest thing for me when I speak to women, when I speak to my clients, is you're already so beautiful and you don't know it. For most women, they don't realize how attractive, how that your sensitivity, that even your neediness, all of your feelings, all of your insecurities, all the stories that you got going on in your head, all of it can be so beautiful when you know how to express it. It's not you that is the problem intrinsically. It's just the way that you are expressing yourself, because nobody has taught you. You didn't have a father that taught you this. You didn't have a mother who role modeled this for you. You look out in society and you're rarely seeing any examples of it, certainly not like role models, celebrities, that kind of stuff. So many women are masculinized today. Movies are just promoting masculinized women. Like, it's a mess. It is such a mess, and it is not your fault. It's not your fault with what you're getting, but it is your responsibility to shift it. It is your responsibility to shift anything bad that you are getting in your love life so that you can get what you want, which is a masculine man who is leading you and cherishing you and taking care of you. And you can have that. I want you to have that. I know you can have that. But you need to believe that you can have it first and foremost. And then second, you need to start doing something about it. So continue watching these videos. I'll have them. There's going to be so many videos. There's going to be way too many videos for you. Keep watching the videos. Get all the pieces together. But then also, when you're ready, that might be right now or it might be later. But when you can feel that resonance where it's like, I want to make these shifts and I can really feel this pull towards working with this guy, Zach Rohde. Book that call with me. relationshipyourdreams.com. Book the call. I'll see you there. We're going to have a fantastic time. We're going to talk about what's going on in your love life, give you coaching on how to shift, and we'll make your relationship dreams come true. That is it for this video. I will see you for the next one. It was great speaking with you, and I will see you on the next one.